Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review, and we have a surprisingly really huge and really crazy story to discuss. So I was not initially going to make another video today, and I'm honestly probably going to post this tomorrow, so it'll be like day late news by the time the video finally hits. But this is important. I have a lot invested in this. Actually, we all do just as gamers, and I myself specifically as a Star Wars fan have a lot invested in this. It's a big deal, and I want to discuss what happened where EA today kind of changed their minds on some of their pricing structure that they were doing for the microtransactions, the loot boxes, and what it looked like to progress enough through Star Wars Battlefront 2, which launches just at the end of this week, as far as unlocking some of the biggest heroes and characters, the people that we would obviously, as Star Wars fans, want to have fairly accessible access to, characters like, oh, I don't know, Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. So there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle and to this story, and I'm sure you guys mostly know everything that's been happening this past week. But the quick version is, with the final version of the game out in the wild for a lot of reviewers and YouTubers and websites and other just random individuals who usually get their hands on these things before they launch, somebody managed to calculate how long it would take with the current Star Wars Battlefront 2 that plans on releasing this week, without paying for any of the loot boxes and the star cards and the microtransactions and any of the garbagey stuff that they wanted to charge us on top of the $60 buy-in price of getting the game. They calculated how long it would take to just progress normally to unlock Darth Vader, which is the most iconic, I think, of all Star Wars characters, and someone that you would think would be fairly easy to be able to play as or to unlock. And this person calculated 40 hours. 40 hours to unlock Darth Vader. And for most people, that definitely seems like too long. I didn't love to see that, and when I read some of what this person actually said, they mentioned that they didn't take into account some of like the single player stuff that would still earn you experience to be able to use towards unlocking certain characters. So there was a little bit of fibbery, but not so much that it wasn't still worth pointing out. And there was a lot of backlash to this because Battlefront 2 has gone through a very unique sort of but news cycle, we should say. I've brought it up before. My girlfriend and I were present in Orlando, Florida at Star Wars Celebration in the room when EA officially unveiled the game to us for the first time. They showed off the single-player campaign, which was fantastic to see. We got to meet Iden Versio. They confirmed that all three eras, including prequel and sequel, will be involved in this game. And that was all great stuff, and initially the buzz was very positive. Then E3 rolled around and they finally showed us multiplayer gameplay, and it was on Naboo with clone troopers and battle droids, and it was really exciting and it looked beautiful, and everyone was really excited. They then confirmed all the DLC was going to be completely free, which I think they still deserve credit for. They were listening to fans. You wanted prequel-era stuff. We're throwing it in there like crazy. You didn't like having to pay season passes and completing the game with DLC, so all that is going to be free. New characters, heroes and villains, new maps, new modes, new ships. All of this stuff will be available for free as they release it for download throughout the life of the game. And that was more great news, and everything looked awesome. Then the loot box and microtransaction thing has been blowing up across the entire video game industry over this year and this past summer. Through that, Battlefront 2 started to be revealed as a game that was going to rely very heavily on the microtransactions and all of these different things. The beta happened, whatever, like a month ago, I think, mid to late October. I played it, I loved it, but when the beta happened, that's when a lot of gamers started to realize, man, this game is going to make you have to pay extra dollars beyond your $60 buy-in price to access a lot of weapons and characters that you should be able to just access because you bought the game for $59.99. Now, EA then responded to that Reddit post, basically defending a lot of what they were doing, and they did it in a nice way. I mean, EA, whoever wrote this for EA, wasn't being like a straight-up jerk, but the way they tried to defend it, people didn't really like. And throughout these last couple of days, there's been a huge backlash towards EA and that Reddit post, and the response that EA gave and the defense that they gave. And basically the gamer's been saying, nope, you don't get a pass, Star Wars doesn't get a pass, the game industry does not get a pass, this is a gross problem, and the gamer has been trying to fight back. We have all been trying to fight back throughout this whole year. Now, I've maintained that I'm still buying and extremely excited for Battlefront 2, but it's for so many reasons. I discussed it on a live stream last night. For me, the biggest thing is, A, I'm not giving them a dime for any microtransaction. I'm just buying the game, and I'm going to enjoy it for whatever I can get out of it just off my base $60 price. and also because I'm just a bigger Star Wars fan than I am a gamer, and I feel like I can make sure to enjoy the game and support the Star Wars content I want to support, but not support the bad practices by not buying any microtransactions. Throwing prequel-era stuff into this game is my dream, and Lucasfilm, not EA, Lucasfilm helped make this possible, and I want to support Lucasfilm's decision to continue to include and acknowledge and support and show love for the prequels. So I will be buying this, but make no mistake, I am with the gamer in the industry in that the whole forced loot box thing is a huge, huge problem, and so I didn't like seeing that this game that I was so excited for, Battlefront 2, oh my god, this game I've been waiting for, is also a huge example of this gross problem, and I didn't, you know, my brain has been fighting with itself trying to reconcile how I feel, but I'm ultimately too excited to play a great Star Wars game with great gameplay, and that lets me finally be a clone trooper. But today, just like 30 minutes ago, the reason I felt compelled to want to get on camera for you guys today is the fact that EA made a post and they released an article and an official statement that said they are drastically reducing all of these problems that everyone has been complaining about. Now, this doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to play out like it sounds. This doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're the 100% good guy or that this is really going to feel like we want it to feel, but it is a great sign. It is a huge show of good faith, I think, and it shows that the gamer's voice, the power that we hold, is damn near immeasurable, man, because this is not the first time that we've been able to affect change, and I've discussed this before. The biggest thing was changing Microsoft's entire business model around the Xbox One, which is way bigger of a decision than even EA is making here with Battlefront 2. We helped make that happen and improved everything Microsoft was doing and improved the Xbox One as a console at the launch. And now that seems to be happening. So they released a whole statement, and I just grabbed a couple of clips of some sentences that kind of lay out the basic stuff I want to touch on real quick that really surmise all the good things that EA has randomly decided to do in lieu of people complaining. And here's just a couple of quick quotes from that article. Making games great comes from regular tuning. As one example, today we're making a substantial change based on what we've seen during the Play First trial. There's been a lot of discussion around the amount of in-game credits and time it takes to unlock some of our heroes, especially Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Unlocking a hero is a great accomplishment in the game, something we want players to have fun earning. We used data from the beta to help set those levels, but it's clear that more changes were needed. So we're reducing the amount of credits needed to unlock the top heroes by 75%. Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader will now be available for 15,000 credits, Emperor Palpatine, Chewbacca, and Leia Organa for 10,000 credits, and Iden at 5,000 credits. Based on what we've seen in the trial, this amount will make earning these heroes an achievement, but one that will be accessible for all players. There's a couple of more things they say talking about some other multiplayer things that they've adjusted and improvements they've made on a couple of other things. But then they make this one last statement, which I also really liked and wanted to talk about. In fact, this Wednesday, we'd like you to join us for a Reddit AMA with some of the key leads on our team. Stay tuned to our social channels for more info on the AMA and our blog for continual updates on what we're seeing, hearing, and adjusting in the game. So there you go. That's pretty huge. That's just a couple of quick tidbits of what they announced today. In lieu, like I said, in response to everyone getting up in arms about some of these really bad practices that we don't want to see ruin this game. And this is really huge, guys, and I have to say that I'm not going to sit here and try to all of a sudden paint EA as this perfect good guy. I mean, this problem existed initially, and so that's the real issue here. But I have to give them a lot of credit for this. And to me, it shows, and this might also be influenced by Lucasfilm. That's actually the one kind of interesting thing here. But what it shows is they are dedicated. The powers that be are dedicated to making sure this game isn't tarnished in a way that hurts the Star Wars name. I think if this was not a Star Wars game, and if this was not a licensed property by another humongous entity, and specifically Lucasfilm and Star Wars, if this was just EA's game that they were making, they might not have really cared as much and been willing to just kind of put it out in the wild and let it be. What I wonder, and this is nothing but my speculation, is obviously the likes of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, maybe some of the Disney folks, like even as high up as Bob Iger, have been seeing the reaction and all the vitriol that the internet has been throwing towards EA and towards Battlefront 2 just days before the game comes out, And I bet that even they were like, as people, you know, they don't really know the gaming industry. They don't work in the gaming industry. They work in a larger entertainment medium. But I'm sure that someone like a Kathleen Kennedy can go to the heads at EA and say, hey, what's going on with our Star Wars game? What are you doing to our brand and to our name and to our movie license that we are allowing you to have video game access for a period of time? Why are people so angry? Explain it to us. And then maybe the EA guys are like, well, the business model of the microtransactions and blah, 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 it's a big problem and people don't like it and they're yelling at us about it. And maybe they were like, okay, well, you gotta fix it. You can't let this game be a bad thing. We have a huge movie we're releasing in a month. This is meant to be part of the tie-in for marketing. We believe in a good faith and a good rapport with the fans of Star Wars, and we can't let you dumb, garbagey video game industry people ruin that with a practice that doesn't feel right and fair to the consumer. Now, I literally made that up. Again, please, guys, I made that up in my brain, but I believe that could be a lot of truth to that. It just feels like that's what's happening here, because I don't think EA or any other company with their own game would make this decision. That being said, when looking at the decision, it is a huge move, you guys. A 75% reduction. I was expecting to read something in the range of like 20% or 25%, which in and of itself would have been like, okay, well, that's a nice move, I guess. It's better than nothing, you know? It shows that they want to fix some sort of PR issues. But 75% reduction, specifically addressing the problem with how much time and money or whatever it would take to unlock these main characters, that's huge, and I'm really glad to see EA doing this. Thank you, EA. The other massive part of this was the last thing I read to you guys. They are holding a publicly announced and pre-scheduled AMA with lead designers on the team for this game for the public and the gamer to be able to discuss with openly in real time. That shows incredible confidence and really good faith. To me, it shows that the company's not backing down. They're not hiding in a corner. There's like 2 or 3 major points in time throughout this whole Battlefront 2 thing where there became a public outcry about a problem with the game, and EA has at least not remained silent. They haven't been turning a blind eye. It maybe took them a while to get to this point, but they have come out and responded and tried to be vocal about that they believe in what they're doing, and they're not pretending like there hasn't been controversy and there hasn't been people and gamers yelling and getting upset about things. And they deserve credit for that, and they deserve credit for this. Again, we have to see this in practice to see if they actually made a good decision that benefits the gamer, and with any luck, that will then benefit the sales of the game. The last thing I should probably leave everyone with here is, as much as we all hate these practices and what EA had been trying to do with Battlefront 2 until these huge changes, we have to understand and allow for video game companies to still make business decisions to make money. EA, even Lucasfilm themselves, you know, like my favorite company, they're not just putting things out there just because they like doing it and because they want to give things to people. I mean, yes, they care about their consumer, I'm sure, and they want to make people happy. But before any of that, they need to make money. You make a movie to make money. You make a video game to make money. You make a whatever to make money. That is business on planet Earth. Not even in America, not in any country. It is planet Earth business. And that is allowed. EA, as a company, you guys, I'm pissed at them too. I don't like them right now either. However, they are allowed to try to make money. But what's happening is they had been trying to, up until now, make money the wrong way. In a gross way, just like other companies in the industry, trying to just like, I mean, I've made so many analogies, just trying to rip chunks of money out of the flesh of the gamer. Just be like, haha, give us everything. We want all your money. And we don't care if we're compromising the integrity of the final product of our video games, which is what they did with the first Battlefront. And so that's the problem. But to be fair, they were trying to, I understand what they were trying to do is, you know, characters that we care about, a Darth Vader and a Luke Skywalker, they do want it to feel great that we achieve these ultimate characters, the best characters in the Star Wars universe. They want it to feel like, I put in a lot of work and time and effort to be able to do this. And that is great on paper, and I feel like your heart could be in the right place with that because you want to make the game experience fun to achieve someone as badass as Luke Skywalker. But when you also provide a workaround that allows other people to just throw money at the game and not play it and not earn it fairly compared to people who don't want to do it, that's the issue, EA. That's the problem. If there was no microtransactions, maybe it was fair across the board to be able to spend 40 hours to access Luke Skywalker, it probably wouldn't have been that big of an issue. But you have 40 hours with no money or immediately with a bunch of garbage loot box gambling money. That is disgusting. And the fact that you're already charging people $60 just to have the game before they start gambling, that is the problem. Anywho, ha-hey, you guys know this. At this point, I'm just going to start yelling and ranting a little bit more, and I don't want to do that because I feel like this is far more positive news than anything. So, I will end the video saying everyone should look for the AMA. I'm going to try to check it out. It's very, very great of EA to be willing to do this and say we're not shying away from the problem. We're not shying away from the gamers that are mad at us. They're going to run headfirst right into the problem. And even if they don't fix it any further and whatever, at least they're showing a public face towards it, and they're willing to have a back and forth with people, which will probably be a lot of yelling and screaming and cursing and telling them that they're terrible, and they're going to sit there and take it and listen publicly, at least so they're saying, and that's huge. Not to mention changing the way the unlock structure works for the game and changing the cost of things and all these things they're doing today is great. They said they can input these changes very quickly and easily. They're going to be ready by the time the game launches in a couple of days. So as somebody who's been massively excited for Battlefront 2, but still unhappy with the loot box problem, this is a nice compromise to see, and I just hope that in practice, it's actually executed the way it sounds, the way they're trying to tell us, and it actually does improve the experience for those of us that hate microtransactions. So, yeah, that's it. A lot to say and a lot to discuss about this, man. What do you guys think? Are you still pissed at EA and you hate them forever? Do you see the goods and the positive moves from this that I do? Discuss it below. I'm going to be playing Battlefront 2 this weekend, so fingers crossed it turns out to be as good as we want it to be. And that's it. So thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.